Jesus is well known for saying during the Sermon on the Mount, "Blessed are the poor in spirit," which many misunderstand to mean it's a blessing to be poor. Of course, anyone who's ever been poor knows that that's not true. So what is it that Jesus really means? Let's dive in. When Jesus says, "Blessed are the poor in spirit," poor in spirit is not an assessment of your financial condition, but an assessment of your spiritual pride. Those who are rich in spirit believe themselves to be worthy on their own of becoming all that they want to be and accomplishing all they desire. They judge themselves to be good people who have earned their status. Now, those who are poor in spirit accept their human limitations. They don't presume to be able to become who they were created to be on their own. They judge themselves to be lacking and in need of divine assistance. Jesus finished the phrase by saying, "Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven." In other words, God is going to bless you with everything He intends for you, all of His desires for you. And the only qualification is to be poor in spirit, to accept your own limitations and to accept His divine assistance. The point is not that you remain poor, but that you become blessed, divinely empowered. When King David understood this principle, it changed the way he did everything. Toward the end of his life, when he had the desire to build a temple to house that same Ark of the Covenant that we talked about in the last episode, he went about it completely differently. He didn't start building right away. In fact, he didn't even build it in his lifetime. He took the time to see it. He wrote pages and pages of vision for how it would look and how it would operate. He consulted God and trusted advisors to help him see this thing more clearly. And then he began to speak about it and to share the vision with others. He stockpiled the exact resources that would be needed and identified the people who God had already put around him that were skilled to do the work. And in his final days, he released his son Solomon to start the project. It's not unusual that you might feel like achieving anything of significance is supposed to be hard. If you're like me, you've consumed countless self-help resources. Those resources are full of stories of heroes that inspire us, and each story has the same theme. The hero had a desire. The hero went through hell. The hero overcame, and the hero got the desire. The stories are powerfully inspiring, but the stories also embed an unintentional belief that anything you want to do or become is going to be hard. You're going to have to go through hell to get there. So you expect that your journey is going to be filled with struggle and difficulty. You assume that the unleashed life is a heavy burden. And you're not wrong. The situation of desiring something and not having it yet implies a degree of suffering. You don't have something you want, and that hurts. The more clearly you can see it, the more uncomfortable it is living without it. And that discomfort causes you to move forward, and setbacks cause more pain. But hard and heavy are different than discomfort. Hard and heavy are mindsets that stem from the rich in spirit. Hard and heavy assume that you carry your burden alone. I know men and women of great vision who suffer unnecessarily under the burden of hard and heavy. They feel the weight of their calling. Their vision sits on them like a ton of bricks, and they feel that they must power through to their destination. Maybe you've felt this way before. I know I have. Frustrated by my lack of progress, carrying the weight of my dreams and my lack of progress and wondering if my family will be able to pursue their dreams. I'm thinking about all the people I'm supposed to help, the good that I'm supposed to do in the world. I've worn that weight as a badge of honor, the mark of a true achiever. Meanwhile, God offers me something different, completely different, light and easy. Jesus called out the people and he said, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy, and my burden is light. These words stand in stark contrast to those of the hustlers and grinders. It doesn't even feel right to say it. Like, my life is supposed to be full of ease? Certainly, that can't be Jesus' message. But it's not that there isn't a burden to carry. It's just that he is the one to carry it. And the part he shares with you and with me is easy and light. That tells me that everything hard and everything heavy is only because I'm taking on more than I need to. Are you spinning your wheels unnecessarily? Are you doing more than you need to and feeling more weight than you need to? Could you do less and achieve your goals faster? Could you live content and happy and still move forward? This is the unleashed life that we are being invited into. Imagine with me for a moment that everything in your life and in the world around you is flowing with divine order, and that the God who put it all together is good and he actually loves you. What would that mean for you? Would you need to worry about anything? Would you feel the need to ever be stressed? Would you have any doubts that your needs would always be met? Would you have any doubts that your needs would be met? Would you wake up every day knowing that everything you need to achieve everything he has put inside you is already available to you? I suspect that if you follow this logic all the way through, that you'll arrive at one conclusion. No, you have nothing to worry about except you. You might conclude that you need to be perfect and in perfect step with God, or you could mess up everything. But then if you take the logic a little further, you might even be able to ascend to the idea that if God gave you the ability to not be perfect, that he has factored that imperfection into his divine order. Have you taken a good hard look at the world around you and realized that no one is perfect? One day I got so angry with myself and my own capacity to hurt other people. I voiced my frustration. I said, God, why did you make us imperfect? Why are we capable of hurting other people? What's the point? And I was answered with this vision of a pristine room. The entire room was carved from one piece of marble. It was perfect. There were no seams. The entire room was gleaming. I had never seen a more perfect room. But then the vision changed and I was staring at a stained glass window. Now, this was truly mesmerizing. The light shone through each little broken piece of glass that had been hand-placed, assembled out of the ruins, restored into a beautiful masterpiece. And I felt God speak to me. In my eyes, restoration is more beautiful than perfection. And I realized that my purpose was not to live perfectly, but to enter his divine flow, complete with my imperfections, and allow him to build me into something of true beauty, broken pieces and all. Maybe you feel like there are broken areas of your life. Maybe you, like me, have been part of shattering perfection in others. What if God could turn all of that into something more beautiful than you could possibly imagine? You can see that we'll never get there by being rich in spirit, full of hustle, carrying that burden on our own. The unleashed life is one of cooperation, full of grace, taking action within the context of his divine flow, aware of our inability to execute perfectly, receiving mercy and empowerment to pick right back up and move forward. Well, here's the success challenge for this week. Choose the light and easy way. Just look at yourself in the mirror and say, I'm not carrying the heavy weight anymore. My life is not going to be full of hustle and difficulty. I'm not built for that. I'm going to share this load. I'm inviting Jesus to carry this with me. I love this verse. Cease striving and know that I am God. If you have any questions for me that I might be able to help you with on a future episode, post them down in the comments. We'd love to hear from you and create content that's super helpful and relevant for you. So put them in the comments and my team is going to tee up those ideas for me in future episodes. Until then, have a great week, and we'll see you in the next episode. Well, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. You know, great businesses and great leaders are built using effective communication. For more, go to speakingschool.com, grab my Elite Business Success Toolkit for free just for trying out our Speaking School membership. That's speakingschool.com. See you next time.